3 is the magic number, and the magic number is 3. It's exactly 3 people it took to screw Cody Rhodes over at WrestleMania, and it is 3 of the ministry members who are now in the house. It's me, Double V, Nico Lurot. What up, ministry?
And it is the new reigning, defending, undisputed MOW champ, the ultimate Finesse Simsy. The one.
Acknowledge him.
Acknowledged.
Yeah, it's me, Big Tone, in the zone.
So we are here with our final show of season 2, and we've got a new champion to my left here. My man Leon took it. I'm really burning, finishing second, obviously, the first of the losers, of course. It was decided pretty much during the Sheamus, Drew, and Gunther match. Because of what was at stake in that match, I have to say I was literally standing for the whole match in the SoFi Stadium. Like when Sheamus nearly got that pinball, I was like, fucking hell, Leon and I are going to go to the final. Nope. You got it then and there. But yeah, so it is our last show of the season. We got a lot to talk about. Jesus. But we're going to try and keep it tight for y'all as always. We've got to do our Mania recap. We've got to talk about the return of Austin Theory's dad. We've got to talk about what we think the future holds for the stars that featured on WWE, which is going to be very interesting considering Daddy's home. And we're going to also try and, because I'm not going to be positive on this show for most part, I'm not going to lie. And we've got to finish on a positive, though, because we've got a massive pay-per-view that was announced literally yesterday coming to the UK, which is going to be fucking sick. But, boys, what did we think of Mania? Talk to me. How was it being at home at Big Tones?
You want to go first or I go first?
I'll drop some. Well, basically, to put it in a nutshell, night 1, amazing. Night 2, whoa. It was like, whoa. I mean, in terms of our predictions and stuff, like, oh yeah, got to represent the 2 clean sweeps as well. Hell yeah.
It's free.
I got night 1 and night 2 all clean sweep.
And the last pay-per-view.
But the reason why is because I tried so hard not to think with my heart. I was really thinking with my head, and the reason being is because I kept hearing all these rumors about Raw being like one of the best Raws after WrestleManias ever. Like it's going to be massive. There's possibly going to be new faces, new shows, and all that kind of stuff. Possible heel turns and stuff, but not like the one that we expected. But yeah, it was good in terms of how I predicted it, but it was shocking as to how it happened. But as for me, night 1 was the best night in my eyes, most definitely.
Yeah. Wow. Damn. Yeah. I mean, I remember a lot of what you said. Going into this WrestleMania, I was looking at the card and I was thinking for sure we're going to get a better show than last year. Yeah, especially with the main event, like of night 2. I thought there's no way that this card isn't going to be better. And to be honest, night 1, we was on a high. Yeah, in this living room, we was buzzing. It was a good moment. It had some great matches. And you know what? We was waiting for night 2. And then it was funny because the same energy just was not there for night 2.
It wasn't.
For night 1. It was deflated. It was going down. Not to say night 2 didn't have some good matches. It really did.
Yeah.
But again, you know, you won. You sent the crowd home unhappy, man. Because like I as much as I respect the fact that so a lot of people actually did want to see Roman retain. 2 was sitting in the living room with me. But I just think that was a perfect moment, really. Like, again, there wasn't a bigger venue you could do it than at WrestleMania. The story was set up. You know, people keep saying that, you know, it wasn't built in. Yeah, and like it hasn't been built up enough to like win that match. like I partially agree with that, but again, it's 20 years in the making. This story, you can pull the trigger at any time; it would have been fine. That was the moment to do it, really, and you didn't. You sent everyone home sad. Yeah, but what can you say?
Another thing I would add here is, well, night one was so good that it didn't even feel like 4 hours. Like before we knew it, there was calling the main event, which was the tag team, the undisputed tag team championships between the Usos and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. We were like, oh my gosh, it's the main event already. Night two felt like it was being dragged. And not only that, there was so much time being wasted that Bobby Lashley could have got a spot. You know, it was a little bit of a disrespect for him to just come out and hold some Kinder Surprise trophy, and then to just go back to the back. We know all the preparations for WrestleMania. We know people are backstage, even people who are not billed to be on the actual show. They're backstage. And you know, he had such a not a hard year, but he's had such he's had such a fluent year, and that's the payment that he got for it. He changed script when he had to change script. He followed suit where he had to follow suit. He basically did everything that Triple H asked of him, only for him to not even feature on WrestleMania. Really, he was on SmackDown. That was Bobby Lashley, former WWE champion. That was his WrestleMania moment. And the other moment where he just got to go out literally to like the stage and then just to go back out again. It was a bit of a disrespect. So many moments.
A huge disrespect.
So many moments. So many moments where, sorry, I was going to say, so many moments where like different things could have happened. And the only answer I have for that is maybe, because of how what we're going to cover next, maybe there were things planned, but Vince obviously dropped his anchor in it, and it fucked shit up. I think that plans were changed on the fly on WrestleMania just as well as Raw, but it was a bit of a deflator. Yeah, it's like night two is like pumping up a slow puncher on a tire, knowing that it's going to deflate by the next day, and that's exactly what it was. Sorry, that's it. Allow Nico to at least say something.
So hold on, like before you get into the long rant, which is well deserved, Nico, because I especially feel it for you and then the tech in it. Yeah, I mean, whatever we felt must be magnified about 2,500 times for you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but like guys like LA Knight, why couldn't you give him the moment? Yeah, like you had like so many things where you were stalling for time. You was showing like bare adverts and everything that we didn't need to see. You've already shown them. You're showing what happened last night on night two. Why are you doing that when you got like a whole locker room full of backstage? That whole Andre the Giant Battle Royal could have been in that segment. Yeah,
it could.
And then could have got his moment, like this pop. Like, you know, like just do a bit of charity, you know. Let the women have a bit more time, yeah. Let them do something, put on the epic. Let someone just have a WrestleMania moment. Have a proper surprise. We didn't get any of that. But now, without further ado, I know as much as we was hurt, the man that's about to speak is going to be hurting him that much more.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, let me start on a positive, because there is something magical about WrestleMania when you go there. Right from the get-go, you know what it's like when we were at Clash and you instantly start connecting with people and you instantly start feeling like, okay, I'm amongst my homies here. I'm amongst the people who I share a passion with. And there's something, just like going to a stand-up comedy gig, there is something monumentally healthy for the soul and for the mind about being with a large group of people all loving the same thing. And you felt that the moment you arrived at the car park at the SoFi Stadium. I mean, it even started well, because we were like queuing for these T-shirts and stuff at one of the merch places outside. And the crazy thing is, this is a fun little story. These two like Bible bashers, you know, the God worshippers came and literally put these huge like God is going to kill you, like pegs right by the merch truck and started screaming abuse at us. Now, what's interesting, and I'll build on this in a moment, is that unlike the English, the American fans tend to just put their heads down. They don't get that rowdy. So then the Tech and I look at each other and we're like, we're going to fuck with these guys, right? And so this guy's just like quoting like lines from the Bible and stuff. And I just scream at him, Austin 3:16. And he sort of said, I bet you can't even quote me Austin 3:16 from the Bible. I went, oh, I can. I just kicked your ass. And then each time he's saying a new line like, did you know about this? I go, oh, what? Blah, blah, blah. What? Literally. So we started just two of us. And then we had like a group of 20, 30 people watting the crazy Catholics. And then from that, it was like them saying that, oh, you're fake sport shit. And then we screamed, it was like, you believe in a talking snake. You believe in a reincarnation, bruv, jog on. And then the security guys arrived. And of course, we all did a na, 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 hey, 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 goodbye. So right from the get-go, before we've even gone in the stadium, there was a real feel-good factor. It was exciting. And you remember the first time we all went to the O2 and saw the ring? And we were all like, okay, shit, this is quite special. Add 1,000 times to that. When I know I sent you guys a video, but when you walk out, like the camera does not do that fucking stadium justice. When you walk out into it, this is not a stadium. This thing is a fucking coliseum. Like, and you sort of look up and you see how big those LED panels they've got up, and you're like, okay, well, this is an event. Like, this is bigger than any production I've ever seen in my life. And you really do kind of like live in that moment. And we were there 3 hours early, just sitting around talking to people and just, you know, breathing it all in like, holy shit, we're at WrestleMania. And now here's where the negative comes in. And we were wondering after night one why this was. And then the Tech said something that was perfect on night two. American fans suck. Like, I'm not throwing shade. I'll do this in post-production. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see this now. Here's a video of the silence inside the stadium during the Charlotte and Rhea match. Like, it is pin drop silence. And we're trying, Dan and I are doing our best to get the crowd going, you know, table, Shayna, oh, head of the table. Bro, we tried everything. That crowd, crickets. And Dan and I were like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Like, this is Mania. If this was in the UK, the noise would be constant.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, most definite.
It would be off the chain noisy. And it was dead silent. Now, there's an argument to be made about the fact that they get Manias more regularly, so it's less of a big deal to them. Sure. But then the Tech pointed this out. He went, think about American sports. What the American fans are really good at, and I say this not in jest, but in like brutal honesty, they're good at taking orders. Think about it. The cheerleaders in NFL, cheer now. Think about it in baseball. Cheer now. And they're very good at cheering when the wrestlers come in. Like Sami Zayn, they did not disappoint. Huge noise, massive pop. John Cena, huge pop. When they are meant to cheer on cue, they're fantastic. The moment that bell goes ding, 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 it goes quiet, mate. And it's not like in Cardiff, the acoustics of the SoFi were amazing, which is weird considering it was an open air stadium, but the acoustics were incredible in that stadium. It carried almost like the O2. It was beautiful in there acoustic wise, but people weren't singing. The moment you get a 1, 2, again, cheer now. All of that shit they were good at. Also, what you realize is the American culture of wrestling in terms of what they like versus us. Bro, it is worlds apart. I was messaging you guys during night one because the guy sitting next to me literally could not stop saying how great the Bray Wyatt LA Knight Mountain Dew Dark match was. And it wasn't just one guy. It was like people in front heard that and they were turning around and going, oh, yeah, that was really good. People behind, same thing. And I'm looking going, what the fuck? And I'm saying to people, and I'm genuinely asking, like, what did you like about that? Like, yeah, it was so different. It was really, really entertaining. It wasn't just boring wrestling. And I'm like, oh, wow. Radically different culture. Roman Reigns, like that crowd, boy, was split. People love the tribal chief in America. Like, we like and love the tribal chief in England. Yeah, acknowledge and all that. It's literally tribalistic over there. Like, they wanted Cody's blood. They also boo the weirdest shit. Like, there were people booing Make-A-Wish because of some political agenda. That made me go, what the fuck? Like, you don't make noise for the whole match, and then Make-A-Wish comes on and you boo that shit. They love Shane McMahon over there. Like, he's a hero to them. So it's just... And I was saying all weekend, because, like you do, you meet people, you talk about the fantasy bookings and stuff, and they're like, oh, what do you think's going to happen with the Cena Theory match? And I said, Theory's going to win, but I pitched them, my dream booking, which is Cena wins, goes to Raw, does a US Open, and then Jay White arrives. 9 out of 10 people who I pitched that to went, who's Jay White? And I was like, wow, fucking hell. No, but it's the casuals, it's insane. And it was people who we were meeting on Century Boulevard on the way to SoFi, people in the stadium. No one watches AEW out there. Like, no one. It is like, they're like AJ, with respect. It's like, WWE is my blood. That's the color I bleed. Not that AJ does this, but they're literally like, fuck AEW. Like, one dude who I'm now friends with on Instagram, he was like, AEW's trash. They don't know how to do stories. They don't know how to do booking. Their storylines don't make sense. I'm like, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page? MJF, CM Punk? He's like, yeah, but that's different. WWE's booking is way better. I'm like, you liked the Bray Wyatt match, didn't you? He's like, yeah, that shit was great. I'm like, okay. Not even firing shots. It just shows how different the culture is over there. Like, and not to say the UK fans are more hardcore, but I definitely get that impression. Like, we seem to be in the UK. Like, it's fact, case in point, AEW have got much better TV ratings here in the UK than they do in the US. Like, way better. So there's definitely a wrestling fandom here that's more diversified in terms of what we consume. So watching all of that was fascinating. But now getting into the crux of Mania, like I've told the good and the bad and the ugly and stuff. Bro, night one, when Sami and KO won that tag team championship, it felt like a party in there. Like, the music didn't stop. I'm sure you could see on the screen when it cut and did the whole copyright thing. Yo, people did not leave the stadium then. That music kept on going. People were so fucking happy for Sami and KO. Like, we had to be ushered out the stadium. Like, you need to leave now. I was like, fuck, no, we don't. This is amazing. And when I tell you, when night 2 ended, we did not need to be ushered out. People were like, gone. Like, gone. And I was that guy thinking, because I know I've made a name for myself on the channel by being a proverbial WWE hater, sometimes justifiably, sometimes I'm biased. But I was trying to be objective on this. I was like, hang on. Let's think about this logically. What are they doing with this? AJ's pitched on the show before that, they're going to rebuild Cody. I've never liked that piece of booking. I thought the storyline was ready for, plucking. But it's like, okay, maybe they're going down that route. Then I thought, hang on, they've also just made a massive sale. The last 3 years, they've recorded profits of $1 billion, profits of $1 billion each year, right? Who's been the head of the table each of the last 3 years? Roman. I was like, financially, I'm speculating here, but I was like, maybe it's something to do with the Endeavor deal. Maybe they wanted Roman to stay at the top because clearly if he's at the top, the company makes money. That's just fact. So they're like, part of the deal is Roman stays champ for another year or two. I'm like, I don't like it, but maybe that's a reason. And then fucking Raw after Mania happened. And I was like, nope, that is a burial, an utter burial. And it's such a shame because until that ending, Cody and Roman were putting on a classic. They had me eating up the drama. I thought it was spot festy without being too spot festy. You know, Solo being sent to the back, Cody breaking the guillotine. That shit hasn't happened yet. You know, there was so much good storyline going on, and they were playing it so well. And I just want to also take this opportunity to say Cody Rhodes is a fucking genius, because obviously he knew that he was going to lose. And the fact that he came out with that belt with all of the AEW guys on the belt, you know, Dark Order and all of that on there. And then the way he was playing with the crowd, kissing the babies and stuff, that man made everyone in the arena believe, I'm winning this bitch. Cody Rhodes is a genius, but he's unfortunately been buried. Look, I considering it was an open air stadium, I cannot describe to you how it felt being in like a vacuum. It felt like the air had been sucked out, like choked. You saw my reaction video. We were looking at each other like, what the fuck just happened? Like
even the guy behind you.
But literally, he looked at us and said, what was that? And here's the thing, that guy behind us was a Roman Reigns guy. But even he was like, the story is Cody should win here. As much as I love Roman, Cody should win this. Even the Roman people were like, huh? They were happy afterwards because, you know, banter. It's like, haha, I was right, you were wrong. But in the moment, that stadium went silent. And I don't mean silent in a way like the US fans are not cheering properly. I mean silent in a way like the air was sucked out the arena. Like, and it wasn't a nice feeling. It felt kind of like what McMahon did to us all before Daniel Bryan won the title. It felt like, you know, that kind of torturing, that kind of viewership torturing he was doing to people, so that all the way in the build-up to Bryan's title win at Mania, people were still questioning, is he going to do it? Like, it felt good when he did it, but it wasn't pleasant viewing up until that moment because we were so fucking unsure because we were being trolled, right? It felt like all of that smushed together into one moment. It was horrible to experience, like truly horrible. And I'm still deflated from it now because it wasn't. I've been saying again for the longest time, I know regular watchers may say like, Nico, you've been saying for ages, WWE don't surprise you. I'm like, that's true. But I think we can all agree there's surprise like, holy shit, The Rock's come out, or surprise like, I don't know, fucking Dominic beats Ray. There's that. I think that would have been a surprise, but also a logical one within the storyline, right? You could play that one both ways. This felt like, Big Tone, what you've often said The Last Jedi is guilty of. Subversion for the sake of subversion, not with any actual intent. And that's what it felt like, is that you just did this for the fuck of it. It doesn't look like you've got a plan here other than for a squash. Because when you break it down, Roman Reigns, the biggest name in wrestling, irrespective of company, he is the needle mover. That name is accurate. That man and Vince McMahon's favorite big guy, Brock Lesnar, in less than 24 hours, squashed the founder of WWE's biggest rival and finished Raw with that. A double middle finger, which for me was like Brock Lesnar speaking for Vince, giving the bird to the fans, giving the bird to Cody, and giving the bird to AEW. Because they've now fucked Cody. Because if he goes back to AEW now, he looks weak. It's like, I couldn't cut it with the other guys, or I'm coming home with my tail between the legs. He'll be booed. He will be booed. So they fucked him there. And if he stays, he's going to... I reckon Brock's going to fuck him at Backlash.
No Vaseline.
Oh, literally bent over with no Vaseline. So that's my like broad thoughts, and like you guys take over here. Which one of you wants to go?
Let me jump in here. Now I'm 50-50 with what you just said. Like, basically, there's a big, huge part of me that agrees with you 100%. But then, like, I'm also thinking that, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just be too optimistic here, but I'm thinking they surely got to be doing this because, like what AJ was saying on pod, is that many people thought that Cody hasn't earned the right to be the one to dethrone Roman after such a historic reign yet, because he's just come back and he's had a handful of matches, really. I think if you put all his matches together, it's probably less than 10. It's definitely less than 15. Yeah.
It's 5 matches.
Yeah, exactly. So they're thinking that, all right, we need to build this guy up in 2023. Yeah. And whether he dethrones Reigns in summer or whether it's all the way to next year, they want to put some meat on the bone. And this is why you do what you do. You make him, it's what I was texting you, Nico, is that they're going for the sympathy route. Yeah. The sympathy route worked for Kofi Kingston. It worked for Daniel Bryan before him. It worked for Sami Zayn. Yeah, that's why Sami becomes such a big star. It worked for Becky Lynch. That's what made her the man. So I'm thinking they're trying this again with Cody, because as you said, everyone went into there thinking that Cody was going to win. Well, Cody was going to be the guy. And then they thought, all right, Cody's going to get some measure of revenge on Raw. But then Brock was waylaid him, smashed the hell out of him, man, an epic beatdown. And then, as you said, the proverbial "I'm back" by Mr. McMahon via Brock with the I can see all of that being a thing. But my hope is that at the end of the day, Vince and Triple H really do see Cody as their guy, because he did start the company when he was 20 years old, did it? Yeah. And I'm sure going back in the negotiations, there must have been talk about this. And I feel Vince McMahon, as much as he likes his big sweaty men as well, yeah, he also likes moments. And I think there's a very big moment to be had with Cody being the first one of the Rhodes family to become the champion. Yeah. Whether he gets both belts, that's up for debate. But I feel there's a big moment, and they're making it simmer a bit more. My only issue is with that: is it going to work? Is it like Drew at Clash? They had that one opportunity, and they'll never be as big as there was again. Also Sami at Elimination Chamber, they had that one opportunity, and they're never
happening again.
But I think it might also have the chance to be a little bit different for Cody, because again, they're going to do this push and this build. But we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, look, the only reason, because I love everything you've just said. I don't actually disagree with any of it. The only thing that makes me nervous is that this is a company which had Sting lose to Triple H and which had Booker T being said, people like you don't win. Vince and WWE are notorious and have historical track records of jealousy and spite, and airing that laundry very, very publicly. What did Vince do with ECW? December to Dismember. He purposefully booked one of the shittest promotion pay-per-views ever. And then even in the final of that pay-per-view, it was 3 WWE guys, not ECW guys, right? So he even eliminated all the ECW guys on an ECW show. And the show did so badly that he turned around and went, oh, you see, it didn't do well. Cancel ECW. Look at what he did with WCW. Buried them by having Buff Bagwell and Booker T main eventing on Raw. Oh, the fans, we've been telling you for years, boo them. Here you go, main event. Boo them. He knows what he's doing. And were it not for the history, I would love to hear what you're saying, Big Tone. And it could still happen. Listen, Mania 40 is in Philadelphia. This might have been Rocky Part 1. And then Cody Rhodes Roman is Rocky Part 2, where Rocky finally beats Apollo Creed. It can happen. But it's like what you said. I do wonder if that fire is going to be there again. I think this was Cody's Montreal. And I don't know if he's got another one in him. And that's thinking positively that is the route they're going. I personally don't believe that. Nothing would make me happier than to be wrong. But we'll talk about what the future holds for the superstars later on in the show. Let me ask you guys, what was your your most disappointing thing, irrespective of Cody and Roman? Your most disappointing thing about Mania, your favorite match, and your favorite entrance?
Right. So I don't see. I don't really have a disappointing. Well, actually, I do, and I kind of aired it earlier on, and that was the point that Bobby Lashley didn't get a match.
Mm.
There was so much time wasted on both pay-per-views that they could have fitted him and or other superstars, even as the Battle Royal, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, that could have been aired on there. So much time was wasted, and I feel that it was all because of this focus on the sale. um I said this earlier, forget about what everyone has done for their craft. Forget, like, what people have worked so hard towards. Oh, because people are gonna get a lot of money. Oh, that doesn't seem to matter anymore. And this includes injuries. This includes, like, people working so hard and then obviously going ahead and botching it in the end and still trying to make things work for the production, for the company, and all of that doesn't matter because of this sale and this merge that they're doing. Um, it was just like ridiculous. My favorite entrance, I have a tie actually, because I loved John Cena's entrance, with the Make a Wish obviously getting their little spot there as well. That was absolutely spot on. That was.
I
Um,
love John.
Even on a grand stage like WrestleMania, he still made it about the kids, and that was quite fascinating to see. And the same goes to Bianca Belair, because she also did a similar thing as well on her entrance, where she made it about the kids and not necessarily
Mm.
about her. And she was champ, or she is the champ. So that was good as well. Those are two of my favorite entrances. Um, ah, I'm thinking maybe Omos should have won. I understand the fact that he's green, but how do you prevent that? You make them beat someone who you didn't think that they were going to beat. Personally, if they could do that with Cody Rhodes, they could have done that with Brock. But unless they knew where they were going with this, and as a matter of fact, it would have made perfect sense. Omos beats Brock Lesnar, and then what happened on Raw would have made perfect sense for that. He's bitter because he lost his match at WrestleMania. He's bitter because he lost to a green person. Um, so now all of a sudden now he don't feel like smiling anymore. Yeah, he's just gonna start tearing up the whole show. But instead he won, which made his turn on Raw completely pointless. It was like, well, why? Do you know what I mean? It was, let's be real, it was nothing like, the Shield turning. It was nothing like, things you don't expect to see. It was just like, well, what was the point in that? Um, and on your point of the American fans being like crap and whatnot, Nico,
Quiet, very quiet. Yeah.
it's like they have been conditioned for so long, and the fact that it's over there as well, they have been conditioned for so long that they're just used to the shit now.
Yes.
To them now, it's like this is what WWE is, and I know that definitely wasn't the case in the Attitude Era.
Mhm.
You know, you had security going around telling people to calm down back in them days. Now, it's like, do you know what I mean? People are just leaving on their own accord. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if certain people wanted to leave WrestleMania because of the product that showed all Raw. It just it was a bit predictable in some areas. The same thing we're saying about Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and the Philadelphia thing and the Rocky 1 and the Rocky 2. That could have been the same way they treated Asuka as well. So a lot of people believe that she should have won. But it was that versus Bianca Belair is now the street girl at WrestleMania. She's now like big time. She's like big time Belair, like big time Cena.
Whooping 3 matches. Go on, Bianca.
She is. She's got a bit of a streak going on, and I like it. And again, the reason why I predicted her to win instead of Asuka as much as I wanted her to win was because I was thinking WrestleMania is one thing, but the Raw after WrestleMania, forget all the other Raws, 364 days of the year, right? That one Raw after WrestleMania is usually where the big shocks happen. I mean, this is where Paige beat AJ Lee to become the new Divas champion, where nobody expected it. So I was thinking along those lines, thinking, all right, she loses the match, she turns heel, but we didn't see that. So again, a lot of planning, a lot of time wasted there.
Mm.
The next day, again, nothing. No heel turn, no nothing. It was just
So what was your favorite match of the 2 nights?
night one. My favorite match was the tag match, no doubt.
Okay.
As much as I think that Charlotte and Rhea Ripley was a good match, there were some scary spots there where I was just like, ooh. But with the use, is like the story that was being told, it was like the culmination of that story, the end of that story, how it was going to play out. It
Yeah.
could have gone any way. So if the Usos won, I don't think it would have been a shock as much as it was Roman Reigns. But then if Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens won, everybody's happy. And as you explained, Nico, people were partying till security was trying to force you out of the stadium
Yeah.
because people were so happy. And that's how you tell a story. So for me, that was the match of night one. Night two,
Just match of the pay-per-view, I guess. Was that your favorite of the whole pay-per-view?
yeah, I would say the tag team match. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Big Turn. How about you, mate? Like most disappointing thing, favorite entrance, favorite match.
Okay, so I hate to be that guy, but as much as I love the tribal chief in it, yeah, it was
Excluding Cody and Roman. Excluding Cody and Roman.
excluded that.
Yeah,
Okay,
because that's the standout. That's like written in stone. My T-shirt, as I said, I was here the night they fucked Cody. Like,
well, in that case, then I really had to mirror what Leon said. It really did disappoint me that there was no big surprises. Your big surprise was Shane McMahon, who just destroyed quads in 20 seconds. Yeah, so it can come out. Is that the best you can really do at WrestleMania? I would have much rather than you do that whole cockamamie segment, yeah, for LA Knight to come out there, chat shit, and then get banged by friggin' Bobby Lashley. Yeah, that would have been great for me. Yeah, it would have been a great moment for them both. I would have like put my hands together and allowed the clapped.
oh, by the way, quickly, LA Knight is over as fuck in America.
What he is like, look, the guy speaking,
Yeah.
he oozes charisma. Yeah, let him show it. I mean, WWE do themselves a disservice sometimes. You want stars, you want people who people are actually invested in. Then let him go out there and have those moments. Yeah, it does him no good like to be on SmackDown, innit? Yeah, not even make the final two of the Battle Royale, and then just not be at WrestleMania at all, even though they're in the hometown. It's like I remember you saying, Nico, with it now, AEW, with it, they know what to do when their wrestlers come to the hometown. Hell, man, look at what happened on Dynamite Wednesday, innit? But I digress. Yeah. As far as entrance goes, yeah, this is one thing about Mania that actually was appealing. They had 4 very good entrances. Yeah. Leon touched on 2 of them. Yeah, with the whole Bianca Belair bringing out the black girls and them all dancing. I thought that was really cool, and you could tell they like all lapped it up. And especially as one of the girls' mother passed away the next day, I'm hoping that she got to see her baby on the stage do that. Yeah,
Well said.
yeah. And obviously John Cena just continues to prove that he is a true standout guy. If I ever see him, I'm just gonna give him a hug. And like, you know what?
Legit.
Yeah. But damn, man, the most fun match, the most fun entrances has got to be the Rey Mysterio match, man. First, Rey come out in it, yeah, with Snoop Dogg in a low rider to introduce in it, yeah. Then no, sorry, correct. To nothing but a G thing, was it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like that switched into Viva Rasa, yeah, of course, man. Light Sheet Steel, great moment, and then finally his music. Brilliant entrance by Ray there. But the one that's gonna take it because it made me laugh so much was Dominic Mysterio's entrance. This guy, he spent 6 months in prison, and now he's been treated by Charles Manson. And they do the whole segment like he's the most dangerous man in the world. And like I said, they need to come in with the cops in it. They need to actually walk in with him like Goldberg, and they did. Yeah, so the Mysterio one, that was great fun. Like,
and your favorite match?
Favorite match, yeah, it's got to be the tag match. Like, because obviously I was just so happy again for Sami Zayn. Because again, he main event to the WrestleMania. Like that's something no one ever expected for Sami Zayn. Let's be real. And like he got it, he won. The elation of the crowd, and KO as well. KO man is an overachiever at this point, man, because he was in the main event at last year's WrestleMania.
2 years in a row.
I was very proud of KO for that. But he's done it 2 years back to back, and they get to have their own little Guerrero Benoit moment with them both standing in the ring holding up titles. Now,
just missing the confetti.
Yeah, look, exactly. That's the only thing I was saying, isn't it? Yeah, where's the confetti? Yeah, but if we look at that moment, if you're gonna, you can throw shade on the tag division all you want, but if we're gonna like end the 600-day title reign, that's how you do it. Main event WrestleMania. It's not going to be done again. The tag titles are never going to be defended in the main event of WrestleMania again.
No.
Yeah,
while old man McMahon's there.
Exactly. Sabi or KO probably ain't going to be in that main event again. So it was nice, and that was my favorite match. But I do want to shout out, though, the quality of both women's titles matches. Unfortunately, I think people acknowledge the Rhea and Charlotte one, but people might expect a bit on the Bianca Asuka one, but they were both fantastic wrestling matches. Yeah, it's just unfortunate where they were on the card. Yeah, and like again, you know, there's just more hype for the other matches.
So that actually tangents really nicely into something that disappointed me, and Den clocked it instantly, and he says that whenever he's been to a WrestleMania, it's been like that. And I know I put this in the group, and AJ was like, I disagree, but it's difficult for me to say what it was like being in the apartment with you guys. But what I can tell you is they pump noise into that stadium. Like, case in point, one thing they were doing, you know, when that guy came out to do the conducting for the Seth Rollins, whoa, that wasn't the crowd. That was the speakers. They were pumping noise into the stadium. And it wasn't like, oh, I can just about hear it. It's like, no, that shit was loud. Like, they were pumping that noise into the stadium live. And what Den noticed, not the noise pumping, but like the way the women are booked, they're the kind of beer break, but not really, because the quality of the women in this year was legitimately good, to be fair. On all 4 matches, there were class act women in all the matches. So it wasn't so much beer break in terms of the stars that were in the matches, but they were using them as kind of like the fan recovery matches. Like, they were always following a big match. Like, Charlotte and Rhea followed Rey and Dominic. And I can tell you, from having been in that stadium, people were fucking exhausted at the end of that match. Likewise, the Trish, Lita, Becky against Damage Control, I'm pretty sure that followed Seth and Logan. And people likewise were dead after that match. So one of the most disappointing things for me was sadly seeing how they were booking the women as kind of like the let the fans catch their breath match, because they had no atmosphere. Now, again, I don't know if you guys heard that lack of atmosphere back home, but it was, nah, we're tired. We need to breathe. We need to go to pee. We need to go buy our beer, blah, 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 blah. And every single women's match was booked like that.
I can answer that if you want. Basically, the production values were very good because people seemed very into the Charlotte match. Not so much the Bianca Asuka match.
So we'll come to that because so it's very interesting you mentioned the Charlotte match. But I'll come to that in a moment. But let's put that one aside. The other 3 matches, very much recovery matches, including Bianca and Asuka. Aside from that, the other thing I was really disappointed by, you've kind of touched on it, both of you, with the Miz's spots, doing it 2 nights in a row. And we got Pat McAfee and we got Shane McMahon. And it's like,
Pat McAfee.
bro, it's like, I love Pat McAfee, but don't do that to people when the stadium is expecting The Rock. Like, we realized after night 1, we were very clear, Rock's not coming. We knew. The moment night 2 started, I was asking everyone, no one thought The Rock was coming at that point. We were like, cool, we've made peace with it, move on, enjoy the pay-per-view. There was no bad feeling. There was a little bit of it's a shame. And there was kind of an acknowledgement of, I don't think it's ever going to happen now. Like, the ship sailed. It's probably not going to happen now.
I even tried to give them a bit of credit. Yeah, as soon as I heard that Here Comes the Money, I was like, you know what? At most WrestleManias, and if not every, anytime there's a McMahon that comes out, Stone Cold comes out and gives one of them someone in that family a stunner. And I was really, for the love of God, hoping that we would hear a glass smash, or it might have been pointless with the If You Smell, because he really has. If he's going to make an entrance, it's not going to be for that match.
No, for sure.
But something where it makes the crowd go absolutely crazy. I mean, case in point example, as soon as Rey Mysterio played Viva La Raza, I mean, you were there, so that must have been the loudest pop ever. Like, we felt that pop all the way back in the UK as soon as they played that music. So could you imagine, hearing the glass shatter, or even if you were going to debut someone like Jay White, then obviously it's too late now, but even if you were going to introduce a big name, then should I say, that would have been the moment to do it, and it just didn't happen.
Correct. And so this is
a guy like Bron Breakker.
You took the words out of my mouth. So this is what fundamentally annoys me, is that they chose to make Pat McAfee and Shane McMahon centerpieces. They could have had Matt Riddle return at WrestleMania and bust up The Miz. They could have debuted Bron Breakker. They could have had LA Knight come out instead of The Miz. There were so many more interesting choices they could have made than just the boss's son, and as much as I love him, Pat McAfee. But in terms of the best entrance, it was Viva La Raza for me. Ray's my favorite fucking wrestler in the world, as you know. So seeing him do that entrance with Snoop in a lowrider, the respect to Eddie Guerrero, the pop. Well, I mean, it was. I actually got a notification on my Apple iWatch saying the decibel levels just exceeded 95. Prolonged exposure to this noise can make you temporarily deaf. I was like, okay, so some noise came out of this one then, and it wasn't pumped in. So that was my favorite entrance. Now, in terms of favorite match, I'm going to come back to Charlotte Rhea here, because that was my favorite match. And here's why. Because the way that match started, and again, credit to Den the Tech for pointing this out, he likened that match to when he watched Shawn Taker. Not in terms of it being a legacy match, even though it was fantastic. I wouldn't put it quite on the same level as Shawn and Taker. But what Den told me about his experience with Shawn and Taker is that that match started quite dry, and the wrestlers won the crowd over. Charlotte and Rhea started fucking quiet. Like, people cheered when they came out, but for the first 5 to 7 minutes of that match, it was very quiet. And then the near falls, the 2.99 started coming in, and the crowd, it was, you could feel it boiling. And it was really interesting to be in a stadium that size and experience that, to feel it, the crescendo, like rising until the whole stadium was on their feet going, 1, 2, it was literally like you saw on TV. Those two ladies won over a crowd that was exhausted, put on possibly the best match of the weekend in terms of wrestling ability, possibly. And it was fascinating to see, like, the two of them at work. Also, I just want to say, as much as I love Rhea Ripley, as much as I love John Cena and Rey Mysterio, Charlotte Flair in that environment, oh my God, her star power. her star power, like it's not like anything she does. It's not like she's playing to the crowd. It's just natural. It's like what you were saying about LA Knight. It's that natural charisma she's got. It's like you're just zoning in on her, and it's her natural aura. She's got this presence about her on the big stage, and it was amazing to watch the two of them work. So Charlotte Rhea was personally my favorite match of the weekend.
And Charlotte really took some bumps in that match as well. Like, so I've got to give her kudos for continuing on. She got German suplex on her face twice off the top rope, and a standing release one as well. And she carried on as if nothing ever happened. If that was any other female, the referee would have been putting the crosses up, because
completely.
Not only is she amazing, not only does she stand out, not only is she just adorable, she's literally like, she's just amazing. She's absolutely amazing, and she's a credit for the women's division for that company, most definitely.
She is. Speaking just quickly before we move on, because we've kind of covered WrestleMania now, but speaking of X's, they were going to throw the X up for the Finn Balor match. I just want to throw so much love toward, because did you see the cut on his head? Have you seen it on Instagram?
Yeah. No. We saw the blood dripping in the ring when
he looks like he's had a fucking hoodie zipper on his head now. Like, it's the referee was about to throw the X up, and Balor grabbed him and went, "Don't you fucking dare!"
We saw that as well.
They put a numbing agent on him, and then at ringside stapled, not sewed, not butterfly stitch, stapled his head shut. And what was really sweet, we saw it on the big screens. I don't know if they showed that on the live at yours, but the camera caught it at a moment where Edge was leaning into him, and you could mouth read it. He went, "Thank you, brother." And it was like, that right there is going to be a moment that I remember, even though they're not going to make a big deal of it. Just the fact that Balor took a shot like that and then kept going, because he was like, "This is a Hell in a Cell match at Mania. I'm not going to be thrown out of this." Like, maximum respect. Maximum respect.
Yeah, because we wouldn't want to get another mistake like Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins again, because of the fact that in Hell in a Cell, there's no disqualifications. It's meant to be brutal. It's meant to, look at the first Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. Look at any Hell in a Cell, as a matter of fact. Look at the one with Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. Look at the one with Triple H and Randy Orton. Triple H and Shawn Michaels. You could name any one, and the brutality.
The big one, Mick Foley.
Yeah. So people would have been scratching their heads if, when Balor got busted open, that the referee would have exited it. Do you know what I mean? And we saw that moment when he grabbed the referee to say "don't stop it" and sort of thing. And the way he grabbed him, it was like he broke kayfabe almost to tell him, "Do not stop this match."
Yeah.
I can't remember if we saw Edge saying "thank you, brother," because at the same time, what we did see though was Edge really thinking whether to break kayfabe or to keep in kayfabe, because we could see him checking to see if he was okay. Then we saw him looking around the ring like as if to say he was having that little psycho moment, like, do you know what I mean? Like he was going to start setting up apparatus and start setting up evil devices and stuff. So, like, in terms of working on the fly as well, I know they've done it, like, most of their career. But on a big stage like that, many people can fall or fail or whatever, and they played to it. Even during injury, they played to it, and I've got to give them credit for that, because and the fact that they got praised for it as well. Because if Vince was in charge then we probably would have been hearing about two people being released, or at least one of them, anyways.
Correct. So
let me give two more shout outs before we move on.
Go on.
First, quickly, want to shout out Logan Paul and Seth Rollins match. That was a lot of fun at home. I don't know how it felt in the arena, and I don't know how the actual reaction was when KSI showed up, but AJ jumped out of his seat. I was right.
Yeah, AJ called it as well, and it was him.
That was a very fun moment. Yeah. The second moment I want to actually shout out. Talking of injuries, I want to shout out Snoop Dogg and The Miz for being the country professionals. And Shane busted both his quads, just like his daddy, like Father Lexon. Somehow Snoop on the fly just knew to get up there, finish the match, hit the Snoop Dogg people's elbow, which has got one of the most highest views on Instagram and like TikTok, all of that of all time. So you know what? Kudos to Snoop Dogg in his WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
I thought I'd give another shout out to the Miz as well, because I think he genuinely took a punch to the face as well in that. Like, we heard it, right? And you could hear that flesh on bone type of smack. And I don't know if you noticed, yeah, but he looked like he had a little bit of a black eye on Raw the next day, but I digress. But at the end of the day, as Big Tone literally just said, in his words, I will say then, like, literally, consummate professionals. Miz took it like a champ, and kudos for Snoop for like literally saving that segment there.
So in that sense, WrestleMania 39 literally had a bit of everything. I can tell you from being there, the show they put on was quite the spectacle. There were some matches that I will remember forever for both the right and wrong reasons. There was some unfortunate album filler. They gave us some good moments. They had some story paid off. They made some terrible creative decisions with certain things. Lots of missed opportunities with others. Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Rey Mysterio. So trying to put a positive spin on it, despite the fact that I cannot stress this enough, how deflated people were at the end of that event. WrestleMania 39 weirdly had a bit of everything. So it is, I guess, a nice way to close off season 2. Not that we have a choice in the matter, but that is the end of our predictions for season 2. And it ends with the final scores of AJ on 6, myself, Big Tone, and Den all on 7, and Leon with a total pay-per-view winning of 8, making the new champion, Mr. Simsy. So, yeah, look, I'm bitter about the fact that it got so close to me, but look, I got to show love. 3 clean sweeps in a row is no small matter, so you are the champ for season 3, my friend. Well done. Now we have to talk about other things. So, without further ado, let's... Yeah, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about the return of Vince McMahon. And yeah, let's talk about what we all make of Monday Night Raw. Leon is the champion. The floor is yours. Go.
Yeah, that had got to be like one of the most deflating, disappointing, worst Raws I have ever seen in a very long time. Like, I remember coming home from work saying to myself, yeah, literally avoiding all social media as well, because you know what it's like. You go into Instagram, you go into like YouTube, and boom, you know, spoiler. So avoided it all day, even avoided the group chat and everything. Came home, had my popcorn, had my food, had everything ready, had my drink. Well, put it this way, like, you know, it was just disappointing. I came home and I was like, what? And it was just like moment after moment after moment. I thought, hour 1, okay, you know, I see what they're trying to do. Let's see where they go. Hour 2 was just like, you want to talk about a piss break? That was like you could have taken a bath break then. I'm telling you, you could have gone out, done some shopping, come back, and you wouldn't have missed a damn thing. Yeah. And then hour 3 was just like, okay, you know, why did Seth Rollins literally pull a Chris Jericho? He comes out, the crowd do the whoa, whoa, whoa chant, and then he walks back out. Doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything, doesn't drop a promo, doesn't do anything, just literally walks back out. I'm like, what was the point in that? You know, what I really would have liked here is he does that as he's walking back out, Bobby Lashley comes out and beats the shit out of him. Something, you know, just something to make the crowd go, if you really want them to go what in a good way, that would have been the moment to do it. Also, I know we're talking about Raw now, but then if we're talking realistically in terms of Miz saying, oh, you know, I challenged someone in the back to challenge me and so forth, and Snoop was like, well, actually, yeah, you know what? I can make matches. Here's somebody. That would have been the moment for Bobby Lashley to come out and beat the shit out of Miz. Anyways, it was just a complete waste of time. Complete waste of time. Like, every single part in it was just disappointing. I didn't see no point in it. I know matches were cut last minute, literally like an hour before the show went on air.
While the
Plans
show was on
changed. I was going to say, yeah, plans changed whilst they were on air. And I can only imagine how that must have felt for all of the wrestlers. You know, they say that the morale was at an all-time low again. I could only feel for them, you know, because in that situation, what can they, unless they do a Sasha Banks and a Naomi, what can they do? They just have to follow with it. And then I feel it for the wrestlers. I also feel it for Triple H. You know, all these plans that he had made, and I'm sure whatever the Raw was for after WrestleMania was planned months in advance just to be scrumpled up and thrown in the trash by Vince McMahon, who decides, oh, you know, this, that, and this is going to happen. And the problem I have with that is the fact that it's not just affecting just one person anymore. You know, it's affecting everything, everyone, and everything, even down to the Endeavor owners. You know, if they don't like this, they're going to want him out, and they will get him out because they actually have a place, a window to do that. Basically, if
I
they
don't
get their
know, man. The one thing I'll disagree on with you with what you said there with Endeavor. Remember, this is a company that kept Dana White as the president of the UFC when he's been videotaped bitch slapping his wife online a week ago, and they just went, "It's fine, he stays." I think McMahon's kind of bulletproof, but yeah, carry on. Sorry.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know what? I did think about that. Now, I don't want to get too deep on that situation with Dana White, but the only thing I will say is that it was a moment between him and his wife, but social media, just like most celebrities, just happened to be there to catch that moment. But at least he's not doing things with talent, and you know, at least he's not doing other strange things on airplanes and so forth, just because he can. I mean, if I'm to compare what Endeavor are protecting Dana White to what WWE are protecting Vince McMahon from, it's a complete that's worlds apart as well. And with Dana, I can understand that point, and I can forgive and forget and move forward with him. With Vince, I can't. I can't. There's too many stories coming out about him. Too many, you know, hush hush stories. You know, there's just a lot of things coming out about him which I don't like. You know, and even if you take that away, I don't care if you. All right, yes, he's done. He's the reason for the Attitude Era. He's the reason why, you know, WWE won the Monday Night Wars and so forth. But then even then, at some point, you know, he should have put those responsibilities on to the talent that's in the ring, Triple H and so forth. Yep. Now it's just like just you're just a parody now, and you're not even a parody. You're a danger to the company. He's a complete danger to the company. If he doesn't fire people, people are gonna they're gonna walk out. You know, and if that happens, Endeavor are not going to be very happy knowing that Vince is the cause of this. And this is the reason why I say that they may be in that position to push him out, because if he's affecting the business effectively, like massively effectively, they're not going to like that.
For sure, really, but you got to remember, man, last 3 years, as much as it pains me to say it, the last 3 years, 1 billion profit a year for the last 3 years. So at the end of the day, Endeavor's a business that I don't agree with it, because it's the Transformers argument. You know, the Transformers movies made $1 billion a piece, and my argument's always been, yeah, imagine if they were good, right? But the bottom line is that they don't look at the businesses like that. They look at, oh, we've made $1 billion profit. Fine, the bottom line's good. He stays. They're not going to go into the creative side and question of, oh, hang on, if we booked better instead of $1 billion profit, we could do $2 billion profit if the product was actually good. They're just going to see $1 billion profit, sadly. But yeah, look, Big Tone, you can shoot next, mate. Your general feelings on Raw.
So, again, you know, Leon has covered a lot of what my feelings was. I think I actually texted in the group in it, that this is a very mid Raw, really. Like, it's so mediocre. Like, I can only imagine what it was like being deflated. It's the same old stuff. It was truly Vince McMahon is back in it,
Oh, yeah.
Matches, like matches that didn't make no sense. Like for instance, what was the point of the Streets Profits like winning their big WrestleMania showcase match just to get squashed on Raw by what's the new tag team champions when that should be a pay-per-view match, yeah, and they should narrowly come, or hell, even kickstart a Street Profit heel turn, yeah, which would have made it interesting. Do something, but no, just straight up. Oh, they had the match, they lost. Oh, okay, that match meant absolutely shit. It meant like less than it did originally. Yeah. Like, so there was just no point of doing it. Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Vince McMahon. And then, like, those other stuff that I just totally forgot about, like the Seth coming out and walking around and coming out. Like, I can't only imagine what that must have been like live, because I would have been pissed. I would have been like, what the fuck is that? Yeah.
Yep.
The highlight of the night was probably Riddle returning. Yeah, he got like a great ovation.
Oh, yes.
It was good and it was fun, and I was really happy to see him. Yeah, because I actually forgot about Riddle, but it was nice to see him back down on TV. Yeah, I didn't see the swerve in it from Brock coming.
Oh, did you not? Okay.
No, I didn't. Yeah, and I actually thought that was actually a really good moment. And personally, actually witnessing it, I enjoyed the beatdown because the beatdown, it was a good beatdown.
Oh, it's a staged beatdown. Yeah, it was very well choreographed.
Yeah, it was a great beatdown. Yeah, I like, you know, it lasted a good length of time and he kept coming back out.
Yeah, it was a good rock beatdown.
That was a great beatdown. I just like thinking it like Cody, again, I'm hoping everything that I was saying earlier in the show is right. And this is not the final nail in his coffin. Yeah, like this is basically just the start of his arc. Yeah, like his down moment, double down, like literally.
We can hope.
Yeah. And like for instance, but again, they didn't further anything. They didn't start any new storylines. As far as Vince being back, and you can tell he's back.
Oh yeah.
Like, surely, like these big companies, if they're about the bottom dollar, they've got to learn that you've got to listen to your fans. So many of these big companies have been humbled quite like lately, in it, yeah. Disney in it with both Marvel and what do you call it, Star Wars, are learning a lesson. DC have learned a lesson, yeah. Warner Brothers, DC have learned a lesson. So many of these companies are learning a lesson, but still not choosing to listen to that. And Deborah, you're going to find out pretty quickly what's bringing back a Gomez Adams looking Vince McMahon motherfucker is going to do to your why is he dressed like that, man? Why? Is that his ultimate piss take?
Mustache twirling villain, bro. Come on.
Yo, man. And yo, Vince is too much, man. And like, if the reports are true and Triple H is indeed gone, yeah, then man, that is just a detriment to the entire wrestling industry. And I just find fuck that we do not have to put up with that as our sole source of wrestling.
Yeah.
Of big show wrestling.
Well
like,
said.
You know, this is what I'm saying. Like it's the golden age of content. There's so many other shows to watch, yeah. And chief among them is AEW. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you can put fingers up at them all you want. They put a finger up at you right back to it, yeah, because they got a stadium that you haven't got. Yeah. And we'll touch on that later.
We'll chat about that later. I mean, yeah, okay. So this is very hard to talk about without being negative because I was there for my sins. And man, I can tell you this, after what I saw on Raw, I am going to do everything in my power at Money in the Bank to get a "fuck you, McMahon" chant started. And I want that motherfucker to hear the English crowd. Oh, bro.
I think fuck you, Vince is easier because it's like that 3 syllables, everyone can get on.
I love that even more. Fuck you, Vince. And I will do everything in my power with my ministry brothers to make sure that the O2 is drowning in that song. Because what I saw on Raw, man, like, it was painful. Now, I've never made a secret on this channel about my feelings about Triple H's booking. I've said for 9 months now, we're grading on a curve here. We're grading on a curve. It was so bad before that even just doing the bare minimum, calling a wrestler, calling a belt, seemed like, oh my God, it's actually good again. It's not that it's good again. It's just that it was so shit before that Triple H doing literally the bare minimum as a booker made the product look fresh again. And fucking well done to him for that. But what I can tell you, if this last Raw was anything to go by, that curve, grading on a curve, we're going right back down to the bottom of that curve, brothers. Because, oh my word, Dan Detect, to his fucking credit again, called it brilliantly. Triple H came out at the beginning, got a monster pop. And when he started talking, Dan whispered in my ear, he said, this feels like a goodbye. Has he just been fired? Is McMahon back? And then the fucking reports came out. Dan fucking called that shit. And I wish he was there to, take credit for it in person. But I will say for him, he called that shit. Now, speaking of calling shit, the moment Brock came out and shook hands with Cody, I whispered in Dan's ear, he's going to fucking F5 him. If it's not now, it's later. I'm like, you don't ever make a tag team match with Brock. Like, that's fuckery of the highest level. Now, an F5, a single F5 to end the match, I would have been down with, because I would have been like, cool. So they're taking Cody out of this is me still being fair and objective. They're taking Cody out of the title picture. They're going to have a little thing with him with Brock. They're going to get him to beat Brock. They'll make him look like a star again. And they're going to go on a few more matches and build him up. But that was a beatdown and a half, brother. That felt like literally WWE saying, this is why we bought you, to stomp your lights out, Mr. AEW. And it finishing with the double bird, as I said, it felt like such a fuck you to the people who had been invested. And man, if I tell you that the air was sucked out the stadium at the SoFi, people left kind of like, people left the SoFi looking like Obelix from Asterix and Obelix after he's carried one of those big rocks, fucking wrists down by their ankles, just hunched over thinking, oh God, that was painful. People left Raw pissed. Like they were of course they cut the feed at this point. There were boos, like proper boos ringing around the stadium. And it wasn't just like, boo, we love you, Cody. We hate you, Brock. It wasn't heel heat. It went beyond that. It was like, oh, you're going to do us dirty now. You're not just fucking your superstars. You're fucking your fans again. Okay, cool. Here's how we feel. Here's some booze for you, you old cunt. Now, look, people were furious at Raw, mate. And
NXT apparently as well. Fuck you, Finch chance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Long may that continue. I hope that goes to every single pay-per-view.
No, I think it was Fire Vince. Yeah, it was Fire Vince.
We're going to up that ante in the UK and go with fuck you, Vince, when Money in the Bank arrives. That's literally at this point, that's the only thing I'm looking forward to that pay-per-view for, being able to scream fuck you, Vince, knowing that cunt could actually hear my voice. That's the only thing I'm...
On the WWE UK Instagram page, there is a start of Fire Vince. There's a hashtag Fire Vince thing going around as well, and that's growing also.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
That's growing as well. I even added to it because he needs to go.
He does need to go. He does need to go. But as long as that company's recording the profit. Huh?
He was done. He was like rode off into the sunset. They did a little package for him. He got to come out and say goodbye. Like, listen, just piss off and stay pissed off. Why are you back? Yeah, no one wants you back. Literally, no one wants you back. Yeah, and like you may have wrangled your way in it to like say, look at them, look, my company's being profitable. But again, like, humility is coming. Yeah, for you.
I hope so.
You were, God knows, you could just stay behind the scenes and just let everyone else do their thing. But no, you had to be there front and center, ruining both WrestleMania and Raw, man. Let's fuck off at this point, man.
Yeah, literally. And it's spite. That's what I say. It's spite. That's why I believe so firmly that this Cody thing was a burial, not a rebuilding, because it's McMahon booking it. And he is a horrible, spiteful man. You know, he's like a real MJF. You know what MJF does in kayfabe, McMahon is real. He literally walks around thinking he's better than everyone and that his shit don't stink, and he lets people know that. That's the fucked up thing. This is a man who literally seems to hate his own fans and who gets some sort of sycophantic joy out of our misery. He's an awful, awful man, and
People,
that be felt throughout Raw from that opening where Cody went, I want a rematch. No. Okay. Tag match. It's like, fuck off with that, man. And then the Omos not having his gear and the fucking 30 seconds burial of Mustafa Ali. You're going to have to change that 3 things are sure in life to Mustafa Ali now. You know that. To Elias fucking getting his ass whooped. Like, just, it was just one thing after another. Like, what is the point of damage control at this point with the way they've been booked? They're going to lose 2 nights in a row. Like, what's
and
the
there
point?
was Bailey got cancelled as well.
Bailey
I mean,
got
what was
cancelled.
that?
Like, you know, you hear all these things. Like as I've said already, I was iffy about Triple H's booking, but you hear things like, oh, post-Mania, LA Knight's going to get a massive push. I don't see that happening anymore. Vince isn't going to understand a guy like LA Knight. You heard that Austin Theory was going to, you know, have sorry, not Austin Theory. Gunther was going to have, you know, a monster title reign. Vince isn't going to understand Gunther. That IC title will be off of Gunther within the next 2 to 3 months. You won't see Gunther on TV and you won't see the IC title at pay-per-views anymore. And this isn't something like, oh, but you're being so negative. I'm like, this shit has happened before. You literally gave Shinsuke Nakamura the IC title twice, and the moment he had that title, he couldn't get on TV. Like, this isn't hyperbole. This isn't like negative speculation. This shit is historical at this point. It's like, to quote Paul Heyman, this isn't prediction. This is spoiler territory at this point, because this shit has happened.
And to quote CM Punk, we need to understand just how true that statement he made all those years ago really is.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the only way that WWE is going to be good is when he is no longer on this earth. You know, that is when it's going to be better. Because other than that, it's just going to stay exactly how it is. And then it's funny how they cut his mic when he was just about to explain the bully tactics, because that's exactly what he's used to reassume himself in the position that he's in right now. He's using bully tactics. And
I mean, just to build on that quickly, Brother Leon, this is literally a man who held his own company to ransom in order to get back in. Like, you have to, like, this isn't, again, hyperbole. This man literally wouldn't sanction, and bearing in mind, even when he was gone, he still retained power as a board member. He was holding the company ransom to let him back into an executive role, or else he wouldn't renew the TV contracts, which the power remained with him for. He was literally going to say to his own company, I'm not going to give you your TV rights unless I get back in. How fucking crazy do you have to be that type of person?
You know what? It's times like now, yeah, I really wish that the hush money, the hush money customers would speak out, because really and truly, what would really happen if they were to speak out? I mean, what's Vince going to say? Oh, I'll pay them to shut up. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, he may think that he's getting away with all of this stuff. But, you know, at the end of the day, if Trump can be tried, then he will be tried. And I'm really hoping that he gets tried, because there's still some things going against him still that he has to go through. So I'm just really hoping, that karma catches up with him. You know what I mean? And if it isn't karma, then I hope it is the other karma and she power bombs him off the building. Because at the end of the day, we need that dick dastardly looking motherfucker out to that company.
Yeah. And how bad is this that we were all saying at the top of the show that, like, this is a man who gave us the Attitude Era, who gave us people like The Undertaker, The Rock, Austin, Cena, Michaels. Like, this is a man who has 20 years ago plus been responsible for some of our happiest nostalgia moments as children. And for him to have fallen so far from the tree that as a group of 3 friends who all love wrestling and who are more invested in WWE than they probably should be at this point, that we're all sitting here saying, not only do we want you gone, we're not going to be saying thank you, Vince, when you retire. And we acknowledge the world will probably be a brighter place when you are gone. Like, that's how much disdain this man has created amongst his fandom. Like,
even to touch up on your situation there, right? Yes, he gave us these characters, but at the end of the day, right, it was Mark Calloway who gave us the Undertaker, all 30 years of it. Do you see what I'm saying? It was the Anoa'i family that gave us the Yokozunas and the Umagas and the so forth. They may have been given these characters, but it were those superstars, those people who gave us those characters, their time, their blood, their tears, their sweat, and all those things like that. And if he left the company, Triple H can give characters to these wrestlers, and they will still continue to make it work. At the end of the day, he's not the first, and he will not be the last person to create a character, and then for that person to make that character work. So, he can't really ride on that banner anymore. We know it, but we've had enough of it now. So he needs to just get off, because it will long last without him, and it will be better again without him. So the only thing I can say to that in closing is, we need to help, like, make WWE great again, like it was all but 8 months, because now it's just gone back to the abortion, basically, and it's disgusting. I don't like it.
Big Tone, anything you want to add before we move on to our third topic?
I've got to say, like, basically, I've never seen anyone lean in so hard to the saying of Dark Knight, either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. My man not only took that, he leaned into it fully, and he's happy to be that villain. Yeah, and I just say, Vince, man, you ruined your own legacy again. Like, when people say your name, it should be talked about in nothing but respect. But you have killed that for yourself. Yeah, like a couple of years would have gone by after your first retirement. Yeah, and you'll be a hero again. Everyone will have nothing bad to say about you.
Oh, sorry, Big Tone, I got to cut you there. It was not a fucking retirement. He resigned in disgrace. Do not give him the credit of calling it a retirement.
Yeah.
We know all
he's
of
like
that.
he's like the Harvey Bernstein of wrestling. That's
that weren't no retirement.
No, I get what you said, but what I'm trying to say is that, look, if he had just fucked up and stayed fucked up, a couple of years would have gone by and people actually start to respect him and his name will be praised highly for everything he's done. Now, like as you said, with him coming back again, with him bringing back the status quo of bullshit that we hate, yeah, people are never going to love him again, yeah? So you just sullied your own reputation. For what? For what? A couple more days in the sun? So what, man? You're old. Just go enjoy your money. Sit down, play with your grandchildren, man. Now your grandchildren probably start to have children right about now, innit? Yeah, you should do enjoying life, not like the sitting there and getting like your joys off of ruining your fan base, innit?
Yeah. Well, go and spend time with your new wife.
Well, it's actually do anything like take up golf, man. Go visit your buddy Trump in jail. Do whatever, man. Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's our feelings on the return of Vince. As you can tell, it's not positive. And with the return of Vince, that kind of now we're going to go full circle now. And next part. So with the return of Vince McMahon comes, it does make fantasy booking that much more difficult because let's face it, under Vince, we do not get the toys that we like to play with, as history has proven. We do not get nice things with Vince. So whereas when we finished our AEW prediction, what happens next, the link to that is above. I would like to now put the floor over to you, and we're not going to go through the full Mania card because it is frankly too big to do it all now, but let's pick out a few key people and try and think what happens next for them. I'll get so let me get the ball rolling. Who do I think would be a good one to talk about? Actually, now we'll finish with him. Here's one. Let's go with Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus. What do we think is actually going to happen? I think specifically with Gunther.
I'm hoping that they stick to my original prediction. And you're so late in the hour now, you might as well make him be the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. I'm hoping they're not stupid enough to throw away a ready-to-go main eventer, because by that alone, he'll be a main eventer. But then, again, he's a bad guy, a heel, and you've got a heel holding both the title belts. So how much does it even matter anymore?
Yeah, I mean, that match was another great match. I forgot to add, by the way, very hard hitting, very, very physical.
Damn right, it was hard hitting. It cost me the fucking title.
And it was good. But what I see coming out of this is they're gonna stupidly make Sheamus and Drew have another fight again, which is not gonna prove anything. Sheamus is literally winding down the last of his career now, pretty much like Edge. Give the man his flowers. Let him win the Intercontinental title, and then you can plan whatever you want after that. Whether it's Drew that beats him for it afterwards. If you're gonna make them fight for the belt, but at least let Sheamus win the title first from Gunther and let him have his flowers. Even if you let Gunther win it back, just so that you could give Sheamus his flowers. That's what needs to happen. Instead, what I wanted to happen is for Sheamus to go on, Gunther to go on to maybe Brock Lesnar. I don't see that happening now with Brock Lesnar turning heel. And that would have been very interesting because that's another person who hasn't held the Intercontinental title, Brock Lesnar. He's only held the main titles. So, that would have been very interesting, But with Vince in the way now, and this is the problem, we can look at any match and it's very hard to look forward on it because of the obvious elephant in the room.
But this is kind of what I want to do for the purpose of this video. While considering that elephant in the room, what do you realistically? I'm not talking about what we want to happen, because that shit, as I said at the top, we do not get nice things. That shit is gone. In the scope of having to book this with McMahon in charge, where do you see this Gunther guy going?
Well, I'm going to underline and exclamate what you said, Nico. I see Gunther losing that Intercontinental title, maybe lesser than 2 to 3 months. If that's the case, it's probably going to go to Sheamus, the Irish back in the Irish, with Drew being left in the dark. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not going to add much to that because I think that's where it's going with McMahon. I think that's exactly where it's going. This scares the shit out of me. So let me touch on this one. KO and Sammy, what happens with them? Vince McMahon does not like tag team wrestling. People are saying that the Young Bucks should come and join WWE. Are you out of your fucking mind? No. If there is a great tag team somewhere in the world, do not go to WWE. I didn't say all wrestlers. Some wrestlers could fit well in the WWE system, even with McMahon. If you're a tag team, fuck no. Do not go near this promotion. And I think Vince, this is going to be the first really nasty fucking thing he does to us. I'm going to make a bold call here. Usos beat KO and Sammy at Backlash and take the titles back.
You know what? I do kind of see that happening. But then I also see the other end that Vince McMahon doesn't give the slightest shit about, the tag team division. So he might just actually forget about KO and Sammy and just let them hold it for a while. My problem is, either way, that they're screwed because the tag teams that WWE has are so lackluster, and you built nobody up. There's nobody ready to face these guys, except for the Usos. So shit, maybe the logical thing is to put the tag team titles back on them, but then that would just invalidate all of WrestleMania Night 1.
You know
And
what?
this,
I can tell you exactly what's going to happen, right? Just to basically underline and exclamate what both of you are saying. That's what because I was thinking, because Roman has still got his belt, he's obviously going to say something to the Usos because that's yet to be addressed until tomorrow on SmackDown. And it will probably be along the lines of, well, you know, if you don't get your tag titles back, then you're out of the Island of Relevancy, you're out of the bloodline. So it looks like it's going to be obviously set up for them to win it back. And knowing Vince, he'll probably have Sami Zayn be turned on again with Kevin Owens, and then they'll be feuding again. You know, with Vince, it's like what The Rock said. You know, he's basically given us the same Kung Pao chicken day in, day out, and it's just a constant repeat of it, which is insanity, basically.
Oh yeah. So yeah, be it they don't even make it onto TV anymore or lose very quickly.
No, KO and Sami will be on TV, and I'm not sure about like the length of the title reign, but yeah, that is a valid way. Like either get the title back or you're out of the bloodline. But then, like, let's say they keep the titles now. Yeah, who is next? The Viking Raiders. If you want an example of a tag team they destroyed, War Machine was an excellent tag team in both New Japan and NXT. But then when they become the Viking Raiders, oh my gosh, we see what they are now. So
well, in an interesting point to that, oh, you know what? I don't know how to put this because I haven't seen Dynamite yet, but FTR are in a match where if they lose, they leave AEW. So if that's the case, I was thinking maybe WWE would sign them up so that they could come in and face Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. But I was thinking that whilst Triple H was in charge, not thinking so much that now, which means it's very difficult to determine what's going to happen with these tag titles and what's going to happen with the people involved themselves.
Okay, can I spoil that? Can I spoil the ending of Dynamite for you or not?
Nope, I'm gonna watch it after we do this.
Okay, okay.
Well,
Big Tone and I both know what happened with FTR on Dynamite.
Anyone coming in needs to like go the other way now. Yeah, abandon the shit before you even get on it.
Yeah, literally that. Big Tone, I'll put you on for the next one where you think this is going. Who should I give you? Oh, this will be interesting. Poor little Asuka. What do you think's happening to her?
I think one or two things. Either they will actually do the logical thing and actually make Dark Asuka become dark and a heel, a badass, and crack up some wins. But I doubt that because we don't get nice things. So it's just the status quo of her just coming there, winning some matches, losing others, 50-50 booking for her, with her dialing up the stupidity and stereotypical Japanese stuff to 11. Yeah. Because Vince McMahon thinks that's good shit. Yeah.
That's some good shit right there, brother. Oh, yes, of course. We get 50-50 bookings again now. I forgot about that.
As for Bianca, man, like, damn. The problem that the tag titles face is the same problem she faces. Who is a credible person to come and fight her now for the title on Raw?
Ronda.
On Raw. Well, actually, if they move, but I feel like what they've done with Ronda and Shayna, they're the actually only two women that have a credible path now because they should rightfully take those tag titles of Becky and Lita. Yeah.
Even though Shayna didn't even wrestle. Did you catch that? She didn't even wrestle. She was there, but she didn't wrestle.
Hey, look, man, I can't even remember what happened in that match. I just know that they won.
But like, all I know is that and Ronda was nursing her arm as well. Like, she didn't do much either.
So what do you think's happening with Asuka, Leon?
Now, this is very interesting because I'm saying that Asuka's going to turn. I've been calling this from before the prediction show that, you know, she's going to turn heel and she's going to be dark. Whether Rhea Ripley has something to do with that, whether she's the person who recruits Asuka into the Judgment Day, could be an interesting angle. But again, this is Vince that we're talking about here. So where Triple H might come up with that pitch, Triple H would be like, nope, that's not good shit. And just literally, you know, throw that in the trash. and at the same time they're teasing. I don't know. It looks on Raw. It looked like they were teasing another unification of the women's title because Rhea Ripley came out to confront Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
Got two women there standing with two titles with the whole, oh, I'll see you down the road kind of thing. Maybe, maybe not. So there was a lot of play there. And I feel that if Rhea doesn't beat her for the women's title, then she's definitely going to have something to do with either recruiting Asuka into the Judgment Day or being that person to help her change and see. I'm going to switch it and say she's going to help her to see the dark as opposed to seeing the light, and then obviously making that full heel turn. But eventually, I think Asuka will win that women's title. But like the Cody situation, we've only just seen the change of this new character, and I believe myself as well that needs to build before they give her the title. And at the same time, sometimes in these situations, and I believe this with the Fiend as well, a character can be so good you don't need to really put a belt on them. They can still do their thing and not have a title belt.
Undertaker, prime example.
Yeah. So if that's the case, and Kane. So if that's the case, then make Asuka not win the title. Rhea helps her to change and go on to the Judgment Day or to turn dark, but Rhea goes on to face Bianca Belair instead and give her both the titles if they're going to do it that way. But that's the way I'd like to see it going. But I think it's going to be the latter of what happens, basically.
All right, let me bring the mothership back down to earth here. Vince McMahon has got a history of booking Asuka badly. Charlotte was ready for Asuka. Yes, let's destroy your NXT rep that you've spent years cultivating and make you look like a biatch. Asuka was the first woman to quote unquote platinum WWE in the sense that she won the Rumble, she won the Money in the Bank, she won all the titles, Raw and SmackDown, and the women's tag team. And who did they say actually did that first, even though it wasn't true? Bayley. Bullshit. And then what happened to her after after Becky gave her that title? Oh, she couldn't even get on fucking TV. And she was overall women's champion to the degree there's shows of us from last season or two ago where we're like, who's Raw Women's Champion again? Who is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck, it's Asuka, isn't it? Where's Asuka? And like, McMahon doesn't like Asuka. So I can stand here for days and book Asuka into fantastic matches because Asuka's freaking brilliant. But
I don't think Vince likes Japanese wrestlers as a whole.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He does not like
Japanese wrestlers. He's done the same thing to Shinsuke.
Look what he did to fucking Kenta. This is a Bullet Club member. What are you doing?
I forgot about that.
Doing? Bro, like this.
And Akira Tozawa as well.
Akira Tozawa, like it's a joke. He met him on Ninja because of social stereotype.
And you know what? Yeah, you can go back to fucking Tajiri, as a matter of fact. We don't even have to look at all of these recent ones. We go back and look at Funaki, Tajiri,
Taka Michinoku.
Thank you. I was going to say Michinoku Driver, but that's the fucking move. Yeah, exactly. Taka Michinoku. The history, the proof is in the pudding, as you said, Nico.
Asuka, I unfortunately believe, is going to have a series of 50-50 matches with, I don't know, Lacey Evans or Chelsea Green. And then you won't see her on TV for months. And then we'll be sitting here halfway through season 3. Subscribe if you haven't already to see if we're correct or not. And we're going to be like, where the fuck's Asuka? And we'll come flashing right back to season 2 finale and be like, oh yeah, McMahon doesn't like Asuka. So that's why I think Asuka is going right into catering. Unfortunately.
Again.
I'm not going to go through each member of the Judgment Day, but I will say I think Judgment Day are about to become House of Beta again. I think they're about to become the Job Squad. I don't think Rhea's going to hold the title for long. I imagine that they'll put the title on Charlotte because, quote Den the Tech, McMahon loves his blondes. So they'll put the title on Charlotte. Rhea will become the proverbial loser because everyone's like, oh my God, Rhea won the title. Yeah, y'all forgot. Not you two, obviously, but y'all forgot. Rhea's been a champion already on the main roster. No one remembers it because it was dead because they didn't book her properly. So this isn't like, oh my God, Rhea's finally done it since NXT. No, she hasn't. This is her second title. You just don't remember the first one because it was so shit. So I reckon Dominic Mysterio, they're going to take all the fire out from underneath him. All of this great heel heat that he's got, that's gone. Remember, McMahon also does not like Finn Balor. We must not acknowledge that he was the first undisputed champion. Absolutely not. He's small. He may be Irish, but he's too small. And Damian Priest, who's that guy? He's a bit old, isn't he? He may be big, but he's too skinny and old. You can literally see the machinations of McMahon's mind when he looks at a great stable like Judgment Day. And the House of Beta shall make a glorious Bobby Roode style return and become the proverbial jobbers of Monday Night Raw yet again. That's my take on that. What do you all think will happen to Judgment Day?
This is what's fucked up, right? Vince is that fucked up, but I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to turn Dominic to a favorite again, to a face, to a baby face. Do you know what I mean? Like it's and the thing is and then you'll see the deterioration of that character.
Right.
Because when he was trying to be, you know, like the second Mr. 619,
it was dry.
It was dry. As a matter of fact, it was getting. I'll tell you how bad it got. Right, it got to that point. Do you remember the Die Rocky Die like era? Right, it was literally getting to that. It was going to be Die Dominic Die, but they turned him heel, like The Rock, funny enough, and the rest is history, basically. And Vince is just that kind of person to hold that biscuit, the proverbial biscuit, in the tea for too long until it drops in and just spoils the whole shit. You can't drink it, you can't eat it, you can't do anything with it. The only thing you can do is just throw it away. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's literally throwing away all of the hard work that all these wrestlers have done. And this is what frustrates me about this, is because of the fact that regardless of all of that, I'll tell you what it's like, yeah. It's like several people that do like 5 12-hour shifts in the day. They get paid minimum wage, but the boss is driving a Lamborghini. That's exactly what Vince is doing right now. He's driving in the Lamborghini whilst everyone else is just being there, having to like lick their wounds, heal their wounds, and then preferably have their moral knocked, have their confidence knocked, and then eventually get fired. So he's dealing with the mental. He's fucking with the mental as well.
Oh yeah,
this is serious, man. He needs to get the fuck out. I can't say it enough.
It is serious. Big Tone, do you think we're going to see a return of the House of Beta, or do you think there's hope for Judgment Day?
I think possibly. I mean, again, I'm on the fence with this because Rhea, you had such a build, but that was under Triple H, so I don't know what they're gonna do with her. But Charlotte is apparently on hiatus, so Rhea will have the belt for a while. I think they are actually probably trying to build into, like maybe at SummerSlam, champion versus champion in a unification match, or something like that. And then it wouldn't surprise me if they finally do bring a mid-card women's title, as I sort of called it, I should, a while ago. Yeah,
which won't get on TV.
Yeah, it won't get on TV. As far as the immediate future, obviously Dominic is going to be in a tag team match with him and Damian versus Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny at Backlash in Puerto Rico. Yeah, that's a good little rub for him. But as far as Dominic's future goes, maybe they might lead into it. But what I'm thinking is going to happen is comedy jobber from now on. In it, yeah, he will be the person to come out there, chat a lot of crap, and then someone comes out and beats him up. That will be his role.
He will be the new Miz. There will be no more major WrestleMania moments for Mr. Mysterio. Either of them, actually, I would say. So I can believe that. All right. 2 more I want to cover. One of them is going to take a while. If it's okay with you both, I'd like to start with this one. Roman and Cody. We're going to cover both of these guys. So I'm going to be really quick on Cody, and I'm not saying this tongue-in-cheek. I legitimately mean this. I reckon Cody's either going to be gone or you're going to see Stardust back in the coming months. And I mean that. I legitimately mean that. I do not prescribe to this whole they're going to build Cody again and we're going to get Rocky 2, even though that's the dream booking. We do not get nice things with Mr. McMahon, as history has shown. I reckon he's going to be forced back into doing Stardust gimmick just to really put that salt in the wound to the AEW guys. Now, with Roman, I had, prior to McMahon coming back, I had this little thing in the back of my mind, which I'd like to run past you both. This isn't going to happen now, but there was this little thing in the back of my mind when we were going into Mania. I was like, if Roman wins, they have the opportunity to do something truly legendary with him. Fuck this 1,000 day thing. Fuck it. It's big numbers are big. So what? Let's go real big. Let's do this shit properly. Let's get Roman Reigns to hold that title until he retires. Make him the GOAT. You have built for 3 years now a superstar who we are all going to remember forever. The man them here will be talking about Roman Reigns when we're in our 70s going, you remember that guy, Roman? He was pretty good, wasn't he? We're all going to be talking about him forever. He is cemented now as a legend, even though he's still wrestling. They have the opportunity to make him bigger than Piper in Portland, bigger than Brett in Canada. They really do. If they really want to double down on Roman, the needle mover, the tribal chief, Mr. Big fucking money, $1 billion profit for the last 3 years when he's been at the top. Fuck 1,000 days, 3,000, 4,000. Make this guy untouchable to the degree that seeing a Roman match just becomes a matter of predictability, but it's always a spectacle because they're going to build storylines in a way where you think it's been so long now. Surely, but no, it never happens. Roman ends his career 3,000, 4,000, however long it is days in charge, the longest reign of all time, even beating Bruno Sammartino's first reign, even beating the reign that was longer than that. Who was it? Beat all the reigns. Make him the unabashed statistical GOAT ever of professional wrestling. And they have the opportunity to do that. That was my dream booking. If you're going to make Cody lose, double down on Roman because he is loved. Whether you were supporting Cody or Roman is irrelevant. Even people like myself who were supporting Cody were still like, I'm supporting Cody, but Roman Reigns is fucking awesome. Double down on this shit. Make him bigger than Flair, bigger than Hogan, bigger than Cena and The Rock. Make him the GOAT of professional wrestling. Beyond question, held title for, I don't know, 7,000 days, 10 years title reign, something. Fucking do it. Make it like something that will echo for eternity. Long after the Ministry of Wrestling are all dead, people will still be talking about the greatest of all time, Roman Reigns. They're not going to do that. But that was my pitch. What I think, it's good, isn't it? Like you could really do so. We could, gentlemen, be watching history in the fucking making. Because we weren't alive when Flair was creating the modern wrestling game. We were kids, you know. Imagine we were the age we are now enjoying the Attitude Era. It would have been even better, right? We were kids consuming that shit. As adults, we would have got off on it even more because we would have got the subtleties of what the artists were doing. But we are, as adults now, living in an age where Roman Reigns, it won't happen, could become the greatest wrestler of all time. Now, I would never in my lifetime that was going to happen. You know, we talk about the greats of yesteryears, your Macho Mans and your Flairs, your Rocks and all that. But to be living in a time where we are seeing right before us the making of the greatest wrestler ever and living that and experiencing that, fuck it. I'll take a Cody loss if that's what they're doing because that's special. But I don't think that's what they're doing. Now, the one thing I'll defend WWE on, because the one soundbite I've heard is them saying there's no one left for Roman. Biggest pile of bullshit I have ever heard. But, well, who would you give Roman then to be a real challenger? Okay, Sheamus. Sheamus and Roman could fight, and that would be a hell of a match. They teased a year ago Shinsuke Nakamura and Roman. Fuck it, there's no one else for him to challenge, right? Bring Nakamura back onto TV. I'm not expecting him to win, but have him like a Cesaro fight. Have him have one fight with Roman. When Gunther loses the IC title, push him to fight Roman for a few matches.
Yeah.
LA Knight, give him a few rounds with Roman.
Yeah.
Fucking Bobby Lashley, give him a few rounds with Roman. Do a best of 3 with Bobby Lashley. Why not? There's
Austin Theory.
Austin. See, now you're beating me to my punchline. Because what I think is going to happen with Roman, they're going to get to that 1,000 day mark, and then you're going to have Austin Theory, who will not be US champion anymore, and you will hit A-Town down, and Austin Theory actually will be the one who beats Roman Reigns. Mr. McMahon is back. This is his prodigy. He's going to have Austin Theory beat Roman Reigns. That's my big prediction.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were that far with it. What?
Oh, no. I genuinely believe Theory will beat Roman Reigns. Because if it was not Vince McMahon in charge, I wouldn't say this. McMahon is going to make this happen. The great, how painful would it be that not only do we have the potential to have had this, this epic fantasy reign that I'm booking now of 7,000 days or whatever it is. Let's bring it back down to earth. We're going to get to number 1,000. All this great story with the bloodline that we've had for 3.5 years. What would be the worst, most boring way they could pay it off? Give it to Mr. Guaranteed 3-star, never more, never less, fucking steady Eddie, 6.5 mediocre out of 10. He's never going to tear the roof off. He's got his generic intro music, which I still like, Big Tone. He's got a generic finisher. He looks like literally as if Mr. McMahon ejaculated onto a wall. It's like, you're about 6'3" and you got big muscles and you're really greasy and you like to wear baby oil, brother. Austin Theory is literally Mr. McMahon's fantasy come alive. I cannot see anyone else in Theory beating Roman for the title. And you know what? It fits because that would piss people off because no one's on board with Theory. And it's not like with Dominic where he's got mega heel heat and it would be like, oh shit, or like Gunther. When he came out, he didn't even really get booed. Again, I don't know what they were pumping onto TV, but in the stadium, it was like, meh. No one gives a fuck because he is the steady Eddie 6.5 out of 10 guy. So what a perfect way for McMahon to continue going, fuck you all. Your brilliant Roman Reigns that I've created, I'm going to destroy him because I can, because I'm Mr. fucking McMahon, and I'm going to put the belt on the guy that I'm telling you is the future, even though none of you can see it. Fuck you all. Theory is the new champion. You can see this shit happening. Discuss.
Okay, well, as far as the Roman holding the title for years, I feel that this year 4, well, actually, they haven't passed year 3, but after the past year 3 will be year 4. Yeah, I feel like they're running the risk of doing what's happening to the superhero movies now. Yeah, we've had too much, too fast, and it's been saturated that people are starting to lose interest a bit. They're starting to think, oh, I still like this, but I will see it when I see it. Yeah. So I feel that you make Roman, you pass his 1,000-day mark, you pass his 3-year mark, so you have that stat. Yeah. And then at the very least, you got to make him lose one of the titles. Now, for me personally, I don't think there's a need for him to have both. You could actually really do the whole years thing if he was just a universal champion, yeah, for years and years, and someone else was walking around with the WWE title. But holding both, how much stock has Roman got? I don't know. There is a lot of specialty things that I was telling you about, Nico, what he could do. Like, for instance, with this merger with Endeavor, we can see UFC guys come in and that be special attractions, Conor versus Roman, for example. You could even have Tyson Fury for the world of boxing coming there and face Roman for the title. There's a lot of specialty big matches, and then sprinkled within them, there is the little nuggets of people he hasn't faced or people he hasn't faced in a long time. I feel they can still try and squeeze some juice out of KO and Sammy in it, yeah, with Roman, rack up another win, an incremental one, have him fight Drew again, just do the rounds and all that. I still do think, I haven't lost faith yet that Cody will be the one to dethrone him, yeah, because I just think that's a good moment. Whether that happens this year at SummerSlam, whether it happens next year at WrestleMania, that's the only real question. As far as Cody, yeah, I feel he does go. He has his feud with Brock. Whether he wins or not is unsure, but I feel this is Cody's rise. And like Cody will, we mentioned Austin Theory. I think Cody will actually dethrone Austin Theory of that US title and be the United States champion for like a good chunk of this year, because what we're doing is we're passing time until WrestleMania season where we can circle back to Cody versus Roman. Yeah. Now that is me being very optimistic on what's happening.
I was gonna say, what about the Royal Rumble winner?
Huh? Well, hey, that could be Cody. We think that what I think would happen if Cody generally is going to take the title, Cody will come in at the Royal Rumble again, but he'll come in at number 1 this time, and he'll go all the way through.
Boy, you are positive, aren't you? Wow.
Hey, look. I feel like this was one of the problems with this year why they wouldn't do it. Is because he come out at number 30 and then he's straight into the WrestleMania main event. Yeah, like again, it does kind of seem like, all right, we're just putting a rocket strap and just shooting him to the moon, isn't it? So, but like I said, if you make him have this year, you make him have feuds with Brock, make him have feuds with the Judgment Day, make him have feuds with Lashley, make him wants to become the US champion, make him win the Royal Rumble. Cody's had a great year and he's back and he's ready to face Roman properly, and this time beats him. I'm hoping that's going to be the case. It's probably going to be some fuckery, but you know what? Out of the three of us, one of us can try to be positive in it. Yeah.
I mean, brother, I admire your mind for this. I admire it. Leon, how about you, mate? Oh, carry on.
No. I'm done. I'm just saying that at least some of that will happen.
Yeah. Stardust and then Theory beats Roman.
I mean, I think like along the lines of what Big Tone was saying, you know, these, and even yourself, Nico, these things could be possible, but only if maybe the titles would be split. Yeah. Another way that your angle would work is Roman holds those belts for so long that it forces the company to come out with another belt, because I heard that they're designing a world heavyweight championship again because of the fact that the universal title is disliked amongst some bodies in the offices. So that's a possibility, but realistically, because both of you put very good points out there, and I there's nothing I can put on that, to be fair. The only thing I can add is the fact that Roman holds on to the title. I'm hoping that this knockback for Cody was just a knockback, because one point you were making, Nico, about the American fans not being as loud as we suspected them to be. Right. So between now and next year, they're going to be touring around a lot of places. So in those places, like the UK, here comes Money in the Bank. Who do you get?
They ain't getting tickets to the UK. UK fans are going to beat them to that shit.
Who do you get to win Money in the Bank? Cody Rhodes. Now he has a massive following. Well, he already does, but now he's got a massive support system in the UK as well. To have Cody win Money in the Bank in the UK at the O2 and show American fans how you get behind a wrestler is one thing, you know. Then you can have Cody hold that Money in the Bank until WrestleMania, and whether Roman fights The Rock, whether he has another opponent for WrestleMania, what I can see happening is Roman having that match with said wrestler, and then Cody cashing in.
Yeah, that's
because if we're gonna be realistic about it, the only way I see Cody getting that belt, all right, so maybe he won't beat him 1-on-1. So the only way he can do it, they did it with Dolph Ziggler, they did it with The Miz, is for him to cash it in whilst the match is going on or at the end of said match. And the good thing about that Money in the Bank briefcase is that he can hold it for a year, so he can literally hold it until like the next backlash next year. Or obviously it would make more sense for him to cash it in at WrestleMania, because it also builds another platform of people wanted The Rock versus Roman Reigns. You can get that, and then straight after that, you can get Cody versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Straight after it with the Money in the Bank cash in. You know, if you want to give people something to remember, that is something to remember right there and then. But
I love it, mate. I love it. I just wish I believed it.
In the build up to that, as Big Tone was saying, let Roman do the rounds, make him beat, you know, your Jinders and your KO and your Sammys and whoever else, Edge, whoever, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, make him go through the rounds and beat all of them. And then obviously it comes with Cody teasing. Like you hear every minute, you hear his music pop out, making Roman Reigns think and so forth. But that actually doesn't happen until it gets to WrestleMania. That's one thing that could happen. If we're in terms of realistically speaking, I know it's a bit of fantasy booking on my part.
That's what the show is, brother. Fantasy book away.
But at the end of the day, like it's very plausible. It's very plausible. And again, it follows suit to past Money in the Bank holders that didn't look like that they were going to ever win a championship without having the Money in the Bank briefcase, and they went on to become the WWE All World Heavyweight Champion. Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, it's happened. Liv Morgan, like it's happened. Those cash-ins are for people who don't seem to be able to win the match 1, 2, 3 in a normal match. So that's their last option of getting the title, and that's what's going to happen to Cody. We're probably going to have to wait another year for it, but at the end of the day, Cody can hold that briefcase and showcase it for the next year, just giving people that anticipation of where and when and how is it going to happen.
I can see the merchandise right now. Yeah, you can see the American Nightmare briefcase, can't you?
Of course.
Yeah.
Dazzled out, yeah, just ready to go.
Yeah. With that Transformer looking like logo on the briefcase. Yeah. I mean, obviously,
it's a good shout.
Everybody's personalized their briefcase at some point, you know. So you know, that would be perfect for him to personalize it. He likes coming out in his suits, so already it matches
American Sting.
There you go. Like, you know, that's the perfect thing. As a matter of fact, I'll probably even call it from now that Cody is probably going to win the Money in the Bank. Because if you want to look at anything else, whether it's bad booking or not, it's going to frustrate Cody at some point. Like, he's wanted that title so bad. Like, you know, the only road to win the world title. If it's going to get to desperation,
88,000 fans on Sunday. Believe me.
If it's going to get to desperation, he's going to end up in that match and winning it. That's what happened with the Big Show. That's what happened with Edge. That's what happened with the Miz. That happened with RVD. You can look at some of the past winners and see for every wrestler who's been fed up of the system, they've gone on to win the Money in the Bank, and eventually they've gone and they've cashed in. Hopefully, Vince won't do some fucked up shit like letting him trying to cash it in at the same day and losing the shit.
I bet he does that too.
But that's exactly what I think Vince is going to do.
If they ever do that, then I will 100% agree with you, Nico. They are burying and they don't give there's not a single plan for Cody if they do that.
Yeah.
I actually think that's exactly
yeah.
They're going to have Cody win Money in the Bank in front of the UK fans cheering, and then they're going to give us a Brock Lesnar
and I don't mean by like, you know, a really starry effort. Like, I mean, he's going to get the shit beat out of him. Yeah. Like the proverbial 1-2 with the lift his head up. Like, I'm not finished with him yet. Beat the shit out of him some more, bust him open to the point where the referee's going to have to just stop the match, or it will just be like, for God's sake, just end the match. And then 1, 2, 3, and then done. And then he'll proceed to get his ass beat after the match as well.
I think
oh goodness! Why can I see that happening so very clearly in my head? Fucking Mania ruined it for me, guys. I've seen this shit happen in front of my face now. This shit's gonna happen, isn't it?
Look.
That's
listen. They made John Cena cash in the Money in the Bank, and what happened, boys?
Brother,
John Cena. Yeah.
This the chaos that Mr. McMahon brings to wrestling. We could literally fantasy book this shit for hours. But listen, if you're watching the main show, we're 2 hours in. And if you're watching this particular fantasy booking as a separate booking, we're about 40 minutes in now to this video. So for the purpose of the main show, we're going to end with one final little thing, one final little nugget, and it's going to be very, very, very positive. Because 'tis the summer to be a wrestling fan. Goodness me. Whatever you may think about Mr. McMahon's dangerous booking that's presumably going to be impending at Money in the Bank, just a little bit after that, right here in the UK shores, possibly the biggest wrestling gate, not just people are saying in AEW's history, the way that it's looking, it could be in history, period. Because on the 27th of August, right here in jolly old London, AEW are doing what WWE, frankly, have not offered the fans. I'm not saying they couldn't do it. They've got all the money in the world, but they just chose to not offer the fans that experience and make us drive our asses fucking to Wales and the Dim Lane and to Cardiff to the Millennium Stadium. Tony Khan has upped the ante here because on the 27th of August, in the 90,000-seater capacity stadium that is Wembley, we will be getting an exclusive, it's not a house show, it's not a Dynamite, it's a fucking pay-per-view. We are getting AEW's All In right here in London, UK. Now, here's where the craziness happens. 90,000 is what Wembley holds for a football match. You got to remember, that football field is going to be covered for this pay-per-view, and it is going to be not only covered in like whatever, like mats and carpets and stuff. It's also going to be covered in seats, and in those seats are going to be more bums. That Wembley pitch is huge. In the stadium is 90,000 people. On the ground at ringside, you can probably get another 10 to 20,000 in there. This gate is going to be 100 to 110,000 people. This is going to be the biggest wrestling event gate-wise, I think, in history, and it's going to be held in the home, and I don't say this lightly, video is going to be on the screen in a moment just to show you that the US fans do not bring the noise. The noisiest fucking wrestling fans in the world, the UK, are going to tear the fucking roof off of Wembley. Can we just all acknowledge that 100,000 people are going to be singing Judas? Oh my God. Gentlemen, discuss.
Yeah. Listen, you could probably be somewhere like Neasden, yeah, or like somewhere around there, and you will hear people singing Judas from that Wembley Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, what can I say? You see me like post that as soon as I see it. That was like 5 o'clock in the morning or something. It's like I was so hyped when I seen that in it, like Wembley. Yeah, of all places for them to do it, because obviously that stadium, like, and that capacity, that is anyone who wants a ticket, yeah, is going to be able to get a ticket. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I think we take AEW probably a lot more seriously and a lot more closer to WCW than American fans.
I can tell you, having spent the last week there, we absolutely do.
Well, there you go. Like we see it as a legit competition. Hell, we give Impact Wrestling, TNA, their biggest gate ever. Yeah, because I remember that 02, that was special. Yeah, why they never run with that again, I don't know. But you know what? AEW ain't them, and AEW has got a head on their shoulder. Not only are they gonna like have like their prime AEW matches, this is gonna be like a wrestling industry. The rest of the wrestling industry, WrestleMania. Yeah,
this is bigger than WrestleMania. This
is exactly what All In was the first time. It was like the Indie Mania, if you will. Yeah, you had people from all shows in it. Ring of Honor, Impact, NWA, New Japan, all on one show. Now we're gonna do it again, and I just reckon we're gonna have some dream matches. We're gonna have people from the Forbidden Door. It's gonna be opening up, We're gonna have some once in a lifetime. We're gonna have some very top storylines. I can't speculate as to what the main event is gonna be. I mean, I would think if they really did want to put butts in seats in it, they want money.
CM Punk.
CM Punk versus Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
You've done it. You've done it. Yeah. No matter how
out the arena.
No matter how you feel about like either of the two, that is a mega money match. Yeah. And like, you've done it in the biggest way. And the feeling, the atmosphere, because we're gonna bring the heat, man. No matter
1,000 people singing CM Punk. Can you imagine?
Oh, like I said, when you come to a football match here, and it's in Wembley, it's in Stratford, West Ham Stadium, and you hear that the acoustics, all those people, we bring the noise, and we're gonna do it for AEW, man. And like when people come out, if they bring through any surprises, that's gonna be a good place to debut people. Like there's so much potential that you could do with this. Like, I just hope the tickets ain't too much because Money in the Bank already finished me. So, man, I can't wait.
Listen, when you consider this is the crazy thing. When you consider the wealth of UK talents that AEW/NJPW Forbidden Door partnership has, it is scary, some of the shit we're going to see. Like, that's not even talking about the big names like the Adam Coles and the Danielsons and the Mox and Omegas. Bro, Saraya, Will Ospreay at Wembley.
Oh, man, yes.
Can you fucking imagine a Will Ospreay at Wembley match? It's going to be
I've just thought of something actually quite prudent,
Tell me.
With Vince McMahon. Be back
must we talk about him now?
One more time, because this is actually a good thing for him being back in it, If he decides to do the releases or people walk on him, then again, AEW, London, England, some of those people are going to walk off WWE and into AEW show live.
Oh, let me build on this shit. You were on, Leon, you weren't in the video. I don't know if you watched it, but AJ, Big Tone, and I did a video similar to this after Revolution. Big Tone, do you remember who I said the one wrestler who could jump ship from WWE and come over to AEW and make a big match with an old tag team partner against FTR?
I don't know if he would do it. He's too loyal.
Bro, can you imagine Edge in AEW, Metalingus in Wembley? Fucking hell.
I think he's too loyal to do that.
I'm not going to bro, I don't know. He's also best mates with Christian and FTR, and if there was one guy who's going to do it. But Adam Cole's 100,000 people going boom. Come on, Adam Cole, bro. Fucking bro. Jamie Hayter's going to get a pop. Oh, the Bucks, the Young Bucks are going to get.
I tell you who else is going to get a pop. Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter on home turf. Oh yeah, she's gonna like.
Bro, Saraya, y'all better learn the fucking lyrics to Zombified between now and then, because that song is a banger, I'm telling you. Saraya is going to get the pop of pops on her home turf. Yeah. But, I get. Do you know who I'd love to see if we're going to do Forbidden Door? Get Okada over. Get Okada over. Boy, do you know what?
Mercedes Moné, like again.
Mercedes Moné at Wembley, brother. Saraya versus Mercedes at Wembley. There's a dream match for you with history. There's a dream match. I mean, give me MJF versus Okada. Just to make MJF go up and be big. Bring in Jay White. I mean, fucking
MJF gonna face. Ooh.
Oh, mate, I don't know. Leon, who are some of the people you're looking forward to, mate?
I'm looking forward to all of the above that we just mentioned. You know how I'd love to see. We were talking about Metalingus and all of that. Like, what about Bailey? What if Bailey was to show up? Like,
Never.
That would be very interesting. Like, do you know what I mean? But yeah, those are the obvious ones that are very, very, very like more than like likely to be interesting to see come out. The pop alone, the moments, like they're going to be unreal, like so unreal. They're still playing back the Dominic turn on Rey Mysterio on WWE TV, right? Which was over here at Clash at the Castle in Cardiff,
Yeah.
right? And that was over here, like there's going to be that moment in AEW as well at Wembley Stadium. There's going to be moments, shocking moments. There's going to be sing-alongs, and like the song will be finished, and the song will still be people will still be singing the songs. AEW is going to get so much love that night. It's going to be unreal, and it's going to be like the feeling's going to be mutual. We're not going to be like forced over the barrel and shafted dry with no Vaseline like what WWE have just done to us over the weekend. Like they're going to give us what we want, and they have started by bringing the event to the UK, let alone the matches that are going to be proposed for it. I mean, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? And then not to mention, AEW got that stadium above WWE, who one actually have the money to do so, or are they waiting to bring SummerSlam next year back to Wembley Stadium,
Too late.
where
AEW into it.
where it all began in '92?
They can suck my dick as long as McMahon's in charge. I'm not going to. They got my money for Money in the Bank, fine, but I'm not going to another WWE pay-per-view. I'll go to like a house show with y'all, Raw or SmackDown, maybe. I am not spending another 400-500 quid on a WWE pay-per-view when that psychopath is in charge. All I ask is that when we are 100,000 people in Wembley, we get the song going to go viral. Are you watching? Are you watching? Are you watching Vince McMahon? And then fucking post that shit online to fuck him off.
Listen, if we have to get like massive bits of cardboard or whatever it is, yeah, to make a projectile to then voice that, are you watching Vince McMahon? We will do that, but we will be heard. We were heard at the O2. We will be heard again.
We are going to be heard, and this is the quality that AEW have and the quality of their booking. I am going into this pay-per-view. I know everyone always says, AJ notably says, expectation is the killer. On TV, on pay-per-views, AEW really are yet to disappoint me. Remember how hyped we were getting for Forbidden Door? And everyone was like, no, I can't live up. They can't live up. And they had a nightmare with those injuries that happened both during and in the build up to it. And they still, for me at least, gave me one of the most memorable pay-per-views I have ever watched. And but this is not this gate is bigger than WrestleMania. This is a WrestleMania in the UK. Do not be under the illusion that just because the letters WWE are not in front of this thing, this is going to be 100 to 110,000 people. I know WWE posted that them and their bullshit numbers. The capacity of the SoFi Stadium is 88,000 people. I love the way they posted like, this WrestleMania, 161,000 people. So in other words, you've taken the people who bought 2-night tickets and counted them twice. You dodge motherfuckers. So already you've counted 4 just from me and Den instead of 2. Multiply that by 88,000. Now I see how you've worked up your imaginary number. This isn't an imaginary made up in Vince McMahon's cunt head 161,000, which the stadium doesn't hold. Wembley Stadium actually holds that many people. This is the biggest wrestling gate in history, and we've got it in the fucking UK. This is bigger than any Mania ever. I am so fucking excited about this. Like, my heart right now is going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I know the beauty of this. I know that I'm not going to be disappointed because they book their wrestling properly.
What was the attendance last year's WrestleMania? Wasn't it near the hundreds?
It weren't 100.
It wasn't 100, was it? But it was. So basically, they were trying to match the number from last year's WrestleMania, but they accumulated it over 2 shows. That's like the O2 saying that they held 40,000 over 2 nights because of the fact that it holds 20,000.
Correct. That's what they did at Mania. That's what they did at Mania. Correct.
Why? That's desperation, if you ask me. You don't need to do that.
Fucking desperation.
80,000 is still a big number, and on top of that, it still breaks an attendance record if it succeeds people coming to watch a football event there or a baseball event there or whatever. Like, you see what I'm saying? Don't need to do that, really.
Bro,
That's
it goes back to what I was saying at the top of the show. The American consumer culture of wrestling is they buy into the Kool-Aid. If WWE says it's like this, they do not question it. I have seen it with my own eyes. You will enjoy the Bray Wyatt LA Knight Mountain Dew Dark match. Okay, it was really entertaining. I loved it. Dickheads. I am buzzed for this. I'm imagining both of you are buzzed for this, and I'm buzzed about the fact that our total show run time is 2 hours 20. Not if you're watching this particular segment as a separate video on the channel. But yeah, I think we kind of need to wrap there because this has been one long show. So I think let's bring it back to this. Guys, thank you if you're watching the full 2-hour show, thank you for bearing with us. I hope you guys had a better time than I did at Mania. Roll on season 3. Congrats again to our reigning champ, Mr. Simsy, down below. And roll on August 27th for All In. I am buzzed. I told you we'd finish on a positive.
Hell yeah.
All right. So find me at Daddy Go on YouTube, at Movie MT Rushmore on Twitter. Otherwise, guys, it's goodbye from me and see you in season 3.
Yep, find me on Instagram at sims.leon. Otherwise, it's the reigning, defending, undisputed MOW Universal Heavyweight Champion of the World. Saying peace out. And it's always one.
You the one.
All right, thank you for those of you. I want the peace. And hopefully you'll be with us, stick with us season 3. Big turn out, so have a good night.
Have a good one, guys. We out. See ya.